So, Charlene, let's just see what happens as a result of this conversation. I'm really excited to have this session with you. There's a few things I just want to say up front, just kind of to position the call. And a couple of things. I'm going to be scribbling so many notes whilst you're talking, so please don't be put off by my not looking at you. I'm just going to be taking lots of notes. There may be moments where I might have to kind of put my hand up to stop you or slow you down so I can catch up. But on the whole, just keep talking, let things flow. I'm going to ask your permission if I can stop you if I feel like we're going off in a direction that perhaps isn't serving the conversation. If I feel we're going off on a tangent, then I may interrupt you and pull you back. And it's not to be rude, it's just to ensure that we're kind of staying on track. The other thing I'm going to ask you to do is, if you're as you're talking or I'm asking questions, if something pops in to your mind that feels a bit left field, or where did that come from, please stop and just say something's come up and share it. Because I always feel like the mind is magical and will always share something at the perfect moment, and it's relevant, even if it doesn't sound or feel relevant in the moment. It usually is a major insight. So don't worry about, oh, you're on mute, by the way, hun. I don't know if that's deliberate. So don't be afraid to just say, oh, something's just come up, I'm just going to say it, and share and trust. So we're going to trust the process massively here. Okay. All right. So, and it's just going to be a guided conversation. You know, I'm going to go, a lot of it's going to be kind of following my intuition on this, but I do have a process that I follow just to kind of guide us through to hopefully being able to get you really clear on what it is you're here to do, who you're here to do it for, and why you. That's really important for your messaging. Okay, so let's start with the first question then. I always start here, is just basically, when you think about the people you want to work with, and even if you don't have clarity right now, just from your heart, when you think about how you want to help people and that feeling you want people to have as a result of working with Charlene Davis, give me a sense of how do you want people to feel after they've worked with you?
Well, first of all, happy, confidence. I want them to feel like they are now a conscious creator. I know that's not a feeling, but it gives you the feeling that you can do this again. Like if you were to get your dream job and lose it, you'd be able to just do it again. Words that I've always played around with are authentic and unstoppable. But a new word that has come to me is sovereign. I don't know if that's a feeling as much as it's a state of being, but yeah, sovereign and radiant.
What does sovereign mean to you?
It means whole. It means I'm no longer looking at the outside world I'm no longer reacting to the outside world or looking at it as validation. I'm standing in my power, being the creator. And the outside is just a reflection. So leaving codependent behaviors behind. What's another word? Free. I want them to feel free. And I want them to feel peace, inner peace. And loved. And lovable. I think a word that would sum up loved and lovable is attractive. I want them to feel attractive. Should I stop?
The words just keep going. Yeah, if they keep coming, we won't stop until you're like dry.
Magnetic is a word that I love and I want them to feel. Yeah, I think that's it now.
Nice. Okay. All right. So loved, lovable, attractive, magnetic, standing in their power, sovereign, radiant, confident, and that conscious creator that once they've done something once, they feel they can do it again, rinse and repeat kind of thing. Okay. All right. So when you think about the love, the lovable, the attractive, the magnetic, and with these people that you're here to help in mind, to what end? So that magnetism, that attractiveness, to what end? What will they be able to do when they feel all of these things?
I honestly feel like they'd be able to create a life they actually love, or the life they want, desire. Yeah.
Okay.
We
So
need more
what makes this so meaningful to you?
Because, well, I feel like I've tasted what that can feel like, and I've seen it in a client I've actually helped or supported in doing this. And I just know it makes all the difference to be able to feel this way with or without the manifestation of the man, the money, the career. Yeah. So it's like a deep inner resolve or deep inner joy, and nothing can replace that. Nothing can touch that.
Okay. So I want to ask you, so my question was, what makes this meaningful for you to help somebody, and that sense of real passion that you have to help in this way? I suppose my question now is, what makes it meaningful for you in the context of you having not felt that way?
Right.
So has there been a time where you haven't felt this way? Can you tell me about that?
Many a times. I've just felt stuck a lot, and I felt like I haven't been able to change the outside. It's just been the same experience with different people or over and over throughout the years. I remember thinking to myself, if I don't do something differently, I'll just have the same year all over again. And that it just feels painful. Yeah. I remember just at Christmas dinner feeling alone, like I had no one, as in love. So I know that like a lot of my life, I based my worthiness on having a relationship, having money. And it's painful if those things aren't actually there and you're looking for your sense of self through them.
Yeah.
So that's where the pain is. I feel like crying, so I know that that's definitely a point.
Okay. And anytime you feel like crying, let the tears flow, because that's a good cleanse. Okay, so having a relationship, money, it's painful if it's not there. Okay, all right. So what was the catalyst for you then? Say, let's talk about you starting your coaching business. What was the catalyst for you to start your business? What was going on just before that?
Oh, I I think I journaled on this yesterday from the Shine Your Light thing. Yeah. So I remember I've always wanted to do like motivational speaking. I've always wanted to do motivational speaking, and then I remember at one point I just wanted an online business, and I was trying to do a social media marketing agency. But like I hated graphics and all of like Facebook ads. I was just not getting it, and I hated it anyway. And I remember just how much I stood in my own way in like getting it off the ground. And I thought about all the other ways I had stood in my own way and thought, well, if I have this problem, maybe other women have this problem as well. And I would love to help them through it. And then I heard about coaching for the very first time. So that was like that was 4 years ago.
Okay.
And that's when I decided that that was the route for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I just want to come back to this and unpack it a bit more. So you've always wanted to do motivational speaking. Where did that come from? That desire?
I think it was just my love for personal development as a teenager.
Yeah.
I remember reading Rick Warren's book. Is that his name? The Purpose Driven Life?
Not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Purpose Driven Life. So you read a book as a teen.
Yes. And that kind of, yeah, I just always had this feeling that I was looking for my purpose for some reason. And so I think, yeah, and then one book kind of just led to another. I remember reading the 7 something of highly effective people.
Yeah,
So,
Stephen Covey.
yes.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so it just kind of, I think on piggybacking off that, that's where that motivational piece came from.
Yep. Okay. All right. And then the online business, where did that desire come from, do you think?
Well, I think because I had my son at the time and he was either at home or I don't remember, but I was doing many things. So I was also a makeup artist. I was also singing backgrounds, and I would travel all the time. So I didn't want like a full-time 9 to 5 if I didn't really have to take one.
Mm-hmm.
And I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur too. The 9 to 5 just didn't seem like it was for me. It just wasn't fulfilling. And what else? I think I was just looking for, I think I came across the guy who did it like on a YouTube ad. And I was like, well, this sounds good.
Okay.
I'll be at home. Yeah, I'll be at home. I'll be online. I can work from anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. And then you said, I realized I was standing in my own way and I noticed that I'd done this quite a lot. Can you talk to me a bit about what you mean by standing in your own way? Like, how was that manifesting?
I think just that same people pleasing. Yeah, people pleasing. So basically, I didn't have my own sense of direction. Trying to see if anything else comes up.
So how are you standing in your own way?
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Like I just couldn't get myself. So based on the fact that I just couldn't get myself to put myself out there, that felt like one way. And it just kind of showed me how I chose careers that kind of kept me in the same kind of in the background. So like makeup artistry is still in the background kind of job. Then background singing is in the background. So it just kind of seemed like I was playing small, and it was one of the ways that I could possibly like sabotage myself. But then, yeah, I don't know. I can't think of other things. But I mean, I would sabotage myself in love, and I would just have repeat cycles. So, yeah,
Okay.
part of it.
All right. And I just want to pick up again. You said I couldn't get myself to put myself out there. So how did that feel? This inability to kind of put yourself out there.
It felt very incongruent. Like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have this awesome opportunity now because I did this agency course, and I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna help these people, or whoever I chose at the time. I think it was like dentist, some random thing. And I just could not, for the life of me, figure out how to market it or how to even go about saying that I did this. I don't know. It just seemed that there was a something in the way.
Okay.
Not that something was me. My mind somehow just was not working with me.
Okay. All right. So what changed? What was the breakthrough that had you realizing that you could put yourself out there and start doing so?
I think when I started learning more about how the mind works and about limiting beliefs, and that actually, when I leaned into what I actually wanted to do, which was help women, that helped a lot as well. And then after a while of doing it, I just didn't care anymore, and it became more about helping. And I knew that if I stayed hidden in my mind, trying to figure it out before actually doing anything, I would never actually get the confidence. I would never actually do any helping. So it was more important to push through rather than try to get it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to realize my own perfectionistic tendencies, my people-pleasing tendencies as well, and let go of like the fear of rejection and failure. I remember those being big things, the fear of rejection and failure.
Okay.
And abandonment, actually. And those three would also come up with in love a lot too.
Okay, so the pattern was extending into love relationships. Right. Okay. All right. And I just want to ask you, so you talked about getting in your own way. I just want to come back to this. And it was a major issue for your social media marketing agency, obviously, because you needed to put yourself out there. And you talked about the being in the background with the background singer, background kind of with the makeup artist. Can you give me any more examples where you felt you were stood in your own way? Anything you wanted to achieve and you didn't or walked away from it?
I mean, I've always felt like I've been a kind of go-getter, like when I set my mind to something, I can do it type of person. Yeah. But somehow, I don't know, I guess I began to fear disappointment in a way.
Why?
I mean, I can tell you most recent times, but now I'm looking back, I'm seeing it as maybe I feared disappointment.
Give me a recent, tell me about a recent time.
A recent time. Just the same, I think it came down to just the same, not wanting to feel the sadness. Cool. Of something not working out. So it would be better to just not try it all and just stay safe.
Can you give me an example? Of not trying at all, something you wanted to do but not trying at all.
I think even even this coaching, trying to do this coaching business has felt like that at times, and I've had to like just keep bringing myself back.
Mm. Okay. So at its worst, when you feel like you're really in your own way, or you feel that kind of almost like learned helplessness, you're fearing the pain of disappointment, so you kind of hold yourself back. At its worst, tell me how it feels.
Well, it feels like I'm curled up in my bed in the fetal position. It's anxiety at its finest. It also feels like a big failure, like I'm a big failure. What have I done with my life? Those are the thoughts that could possibly come up. After all this time, I'm still spinning my wheels. I still don't have material possessions that like people at my age should have. Just like really major judgments about where I should be versus where I am. And not being able to take care of myself or my son. Just be feeling very hard on myself.
Okay. So I'm going to go one deeper. So what you've fed back to me or given me are thought processes. I'm a big failure. After all this time, I'm still spinning my wheels. I can't take care of myself and my son. I don't have a material possession, so I'm judging myself. So these are all kind of head answers. They are mental constructs. Tell me how it feels at its worst.
Okay, so deep shame is what I heard once I felt through those words that you said back to me.
Sorry, that's my Joey. So keep going. What else?
So shame, guilt, even for having to depend on people. Sadness. There's a plane flying over.
What else?
Can you still hear?
Yep. So what else? So you said there's a deep shame, there's guilt, there's sadness.
Is embarrassment a feeling? I think that's just based off sadness or shame too, right? But yes, so embarrassment.
Okay. So when you tune into these feelings, are they familiar? Like, have you felt them at other points in your life?
Before, like when I was ending my marriage. That feels like the biggest one.
Okay. And what about a less big one? It doesn't have to be major. Maybe go back even further.
Sorry, I got a call. Maybe I could just put my phone on airplane. One moment.
Okay, so yeah, we were just talking about those feelings that are familiar to you. You said ending your marriage is a big one, but is there anything else that's not necessarily a big one, but just where those feelings are familiar?
Yeah, I feel like high school pops up.
Okay.
High school, I feel like I felt like I wasn't lovable. I just didn't feel I can't remember feelings like that, even if I didn't have like names for it at the time.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Okay.
remember wanting to go to a different school at one point. I'm hoping that that would like help me feel better, but my parents didn't buy into that one.
Okay.
And eventually, I guess I found my own something. I found something within me that helped me to feel better as I was there.
What was
So
that
that
something that you
yeah,
found?
I'm not sure. I think um so this is kind of crazy, but um I think singing helped. So I remember singing at like with the school choir at a graduation, and I had like learned how to get my hair curly like this. um so those things kind of helped me feel good because I was doing things. I guess the singing is something that like is a natural gift of mine. So being able to do something that I did well, it did something, I guess.
Yeah.
And feeling beautiful because for the first time it felt like I had gotten attention. So that's outward, but still, that's when I definitely felt like a kind of shift.
Nice. Okay. 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 All right. So what I want to do, Charlene, is just let's go back in time. And I want to just ask you about the young Charlene, the little girl. And sort of I guess pre-7, that sort of age. And my question to you is, what kind of little girl were you? So
Mm.
if you can't remember, just imagine if you had to ask your parents or your, any relatives, like, what kind of little girl was I? How would they describe you?
I think I was very curious, vivacious. I remember loving to play.
What kind of things did you play? What was your favorite type of game?
Maybe Barbies. I played with my Barbies a lot. Um, Board games, cards. Um, what else? I think I was very loving too. It feels like um, mm, I don't remember what else.
Okay, all right. So you used the word vivacious, which I love. So when you think about that word in the context of you as a little girl, how did you express that vivacity? Is that a word? How did you express your vivaciousness?
Always laughing, bubbly, friendly, always singing. Um, yeah, always smiling too.
Mm,
So very happy
okay.
and dance. I used to love dancing with one of my friends at church, and I wasn't allowed to dance at like I guess my parents thought it was something that was not very religious. So I didn't get to do ballet at school, and I remember just always wanting to. So we used to do it at church on the lawn, in our stockings.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Is there anything else that you feel you want to share right now that maybe feels significant or relevant? Anything popping up?
Hmm. I guess not related to being a child, but I was just thinking back on what you said about the sensual self. And I think that maybe I had a belief at one point that this part of myself would get me into trouble.
Where do you think that came from?
I think it comes back to seeking attention and validation from outside and wanting to be chosen, and especially after divorce, I think that's when it really bubbled up.
Tell me about that. What do you mean it bubbled up?
Well, so after divorce, that's one person, and I hadn't dated like many people before getting married, but that's one person, that's one person rejecting you. I felt rejected, but like over a period of time, it felt like men either ghosted, or I was always choosing people who were unavailable or emotionally unavailable, or who just, I liked people who didn't like me back in the same way. Or I would fall too quickly, like early attachment, and then get like super anxious if they would pull away. Of course, I didn't even know I was being anxious at the time. This is just now in my understanding of. But yeah, and I remember like still giving in and being with them, even if like so in not honoring myself in that way. Yeah, so I think once I embraced my sensual self, I actually like began to honor myself a lot more.
And what is that?
In that sense, it gave me some power back. It helped me take my power back, my choice. I guess my worth as well.
So what is embracing your, as you said, embracing my sensual self, what does that look like?
Just not being afraid of it, not making it mean anything bad. God gave it to me. Just acceptance, full acceptance of the fact that I am this feminine, sensual, sexual being. So I think it was just acceptance instead of like trying to, or not trying to, but making that side of me wrong because of religious programming or beliefs.
Okay. And how is life after you embraced your sensual self?
So if you remember, one of the things that I said in the post that I made was this thing on my throat. So I think that it helped me to just be fully expressed. It helped me to be more myself. So full self-expression is something that comes up. And in full self-expression, I healed the thing on my throat. Like there was a noticeable bulge. I look back in pictures and I'll see this thing. And there was a point where I used to try to hide it. So like I would take pictures with my head down. And there was a point where it would still kind of show under here. And yeah, it's so funny because so I think that it all ties back into that.
Wow. Okay. So fully expressed, full self-expression, and it actually healed like a physical manifestation of kind of hiding and swallowing your words.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you
And I
so
didn't
much
even
for
realize.
sharing that.
Sorry.
No.
Now I was saying I didn't realize it went away until like maybe 2 months later. I was looking in the mirror and I realized, hold on, I don't. It was amazing. It was quick. And it's been there since I was in elementary school. It got bigger after my divorce, and I moved back home.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so incredible, isn't it? Okay, so I just how are we doing for time? So I just want to ask you again, just to we're going to trust the process. I'm going to invite you just to shut down your eyes for me. We're going to do a bit of a guided visualization, and I want you to again just come up, allow whatever words to come up. So if you're comfortable to do that, if you can just shut down your eyes for me, and I'm going to sort of guide you through just a visualization process. Yeah. Okay. So I'll close my eyes with you, Charlene, and I just want you to imagine yourself. You could be imagining yourself in the room you're in now, but just to see yourself in a room that is so familiar to you, that is somewhere you feel really, really safe and really comfortable and really just able to be yourself. So again, it could be the room you're in now, it could be your bedroom or a room from your childhood home, or just anywhere that you feel really comfortable and safe. And just let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
Okay. And just look around you in your mind's eye at the room and just notice some detail, any ornaments or pictures on the wall. Notice the color of the floor, the furnishings and furniture. Just get really kind of be there now. And then what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that somebody is coming to see you and they're coming into that room. It's a woman. You've never met her before. She's a complete stranger. But the minute you lock eyes with her and you go to greet her warmly, as you would normally greet anybody, you're going to greet her warmly. But the minute you kind of lock eyes, there's a real energy, a synergistic energy, a real rapport. You know instantly you two are going to get on amazingly. Like you just feel you could sit and talk and talk and talk all night long. Be loads of laughter, loads of just that beautiful soulmate energy. So I just want you to really feel into this other beautiful human being that's come into this room with you. And just notice what you notice about this other person. And I want you, Charlene, to begin to describe for me what qualities and characteristics she has, and those that she'd have to have in order to kind of meet this soulmate criteria for you. So just tune into her and describe for me, what is she like?
Sorry. Okay, so the first thing that comes is she's smiling.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like she's generally a happy person.
Mm-hmm.
I feel excitement. I feel confident too.
So she makes you feel these qualities? What is it about her that makes you feel this way?
I feel them from her. Wait, what is it about her that makes...
Okay, so she's excited, she's confident. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Keep going.
Um, what could we talk? Could you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah. So what qualities, characteristics, personality traits does she have?
Okay. So she values people, connection, she's loving, warm, she loves learning, growth, she loves growing as a person. Self-care comes up, but like in a sense of she likes things like about hair and makeup. She dresses well.
What do you imagine you could talk about with her all night long?
Relationships, men, maybe like the things that help us grow too. So like the obstacles that stand in the way and how to overcome them, or how to get ahead.
Nice.
I feel like we wouldn't talk about money, but we know that we want to be wealthy.
Nice. Okay.
And we love luxury.
I love it. Yeah. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Just stay with her. Stay there. Stay right where you are. Stay with her. I'm just gonna, let's take this relationship to another level. And again, I want you just to come up with whatever bubbles up to the surface from the gut, heart and gut level. So Charlene, this incredible woman has come to see you because she's actually struggling in some way. So she needs some help. What's the struggle?
So here's where I feel like this is the first thing that popped in my head, but I don't know if it's because
What's the first thing that popped into your head? Trust.
Either she's trying to get a man or trying to get a man to commit, or he has pulled away.
Okay.
Or she just doesn't feel like she is getting ahead.
Okay. So she's trying to get a man, or she's trying to get a man to commit. She doesn't feel like she's getting ahead.
Yeah. So in general, like in life.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Okay. All right. So again, just stay with her. And this feeling that she's trying to get a man, or she's trying to get a man to commit, how is this affecting her? She's struggling with this, but how is it affecting her?
I want to say it's taken over her whole life. Oh my God. So it feels consumed by it. Thoughts, maybe like overwhelming sadness. Well, depression popped up, but like I don't know. I don't really know anything about helping people with depression, but it popped up. So I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Okay. She's afraid. Afraid she'll be alone.
And what does that feel like for her? The fear of being alone?
A couple of words are popping in, like fear of growing old alone. Then I feel like despondency is a word that popped into my head.
Right.
And almost like, what's the point? If I'm telling you everything popping in my head right now, as immediately as I said, what's the point? I heard, oh, so that's why you want to help her create a life she loves.
Oh, nice. Oh, so that's why you want to help her create a life she loves. Nice. Okay. So she's here, she's telling you everything that she's feeling, this overwhelming sadness, this situation's consuming her, taking over her whole life. She feels low, sad, sometimes depressed. She's got this fear of growing old alone, but then there's this feeling of, well, what's the point? Some despondency. What do you want to say to her right now?
So I know that these aren't my words, but it's what came to my mind. I want to say, you are the lighthouse. I know where those words came from though, but you are the lighthouse. You are the magnet, which is something I say all the time. But I also want to say, you're creating it and you're enough. And we can turn this around with small shifts. But you have to trust me. I almost didn't tell you that part, but let me tell you just in case.
Beautiful. Anything else coming up?
Tears. Tears are coming up.
Tears of, what are the tears about?
I don't know, it just feels like
letting go, release.
Moving of energy, moving of emotion.
I love it.
And probably a little bit of, I feel like I'm in my purpose. Actually saying that makes me feel even more teary, so maybe that.
Then we're spot on, aren't we? We've nailed it. Okay. All right. Anything else you want to say?
To her?
anything to her, to me, just to put out there as words, anything else?
Just this feeling of that you are meant to be happy with or without the external manifestation. Like, yes, you have your desires for a reason, like you get to have them, but you're also meant to be happy with or without them. And then the ironic thing is that they come.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So with your permission, I'm going to reflect back what's coming up for me from this conversation, and we'll just see if we can kind of whittle something down. But I feel like there's some clarity. I feel that there's some clarity coming through. There's the message is getting clearer. So let's just kind of, I'm going to talk now, and it might not make sense, but I'm just going to, like, there's no particular order. I'm just going to allow whatever to come through. But I'm going to start with the person that came in to your awareness when you were in that space. You know she's you, don't you? She's always going to be you. You describe this woman who is happy, she's smiling, generally feel like this is a really happy woman. She's exciting, so she has this energy of excitement, she's confident, which we know you are, that you've got that exuding out of your every pore. You said she values people, she values connection, she's loving and warm, which from the things you've said, you and I met once yesterday, and I already feel that from you, and also the things you've talked about and how you want people to feel as a result of being in your presence and working with you, and that desire to be a motivational speaker. All of that shows that you have this love for people. You're very loving, warm. You love learning, you love growing as a person. You told me already that from a really young age you were reading personal growth books. It's always had that pull for you. You've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, so you know that whole learning and growth trajectory is right there. You talked about the word self-care came up for you, but you said, you know, she likes things about hair and makeup, and you've already said, you know, I was a makeup artist. I learned to curl my hair like this, and it just, you know, it was so transformational for me at that young age. You said she dresses well. I've seen your profile. I know you love clothes, and you love to look good and take care of yourself. You love talk. Well, you said the pair of you all night long could talk about relationships and men, and that came up a few times throughout this conversation as well. But also the things that help you grow, how to get ahead. And some of your biggest challenges have been around getting in your own way. So it's like, how do I get past this hurdle and obstacle? So, and that's all personal development, isn't it? Peeling back the layers so you can continue to move forward. And you talked about this love of luxury. So, you know, if that's you, I'm guessing it is. Also looking at your profile, this love of luxury. So you've just described in a nutshell you. But the important thing to know here is what you've also described is your ideal client. This is your ideal client as she is in her power. So when she's worked with you and she's kind of whittled down all the negative beliefs and limiting beliefs and working with you to get out of her own way, she comes back to this woman, her true, authentic self, that excitable, magnetic, lovable person. But right now, she's not being that woman because, and this is when I asked you, what's the struggle? Because she's experiencing a challenge where it's all consuming. She's frightened of being lonely. She's frightened of that this may be a relationship challenge, but it feels like it. That's the manifestation. It may be different situations for different clients, but the feelings are the same. She feels despondent. She's wondering what the hell's the point. She's consumed, overwhelmed, feeling sad, feeling depressed. And that what's the point is really significant for your ideal client, because it very much relates to your story. So you talked earlier about fearing something not working and therefore not trying. So there's that, what's the point? What's the point? And so that you bring in this despondency, and it's more painful for someone like you and your ideal client because you're go-getters. So you have this natural proclivity to action taking. You're a high achiever, you're an A-type, driven, determined. Whenever you want something, you go get it. So being in this place where you've lost that side of you goes against who you naturally are, so it hurts even more. Makes sense? Does that resonate? That the pain of despondency is huge for someone like you because you're a natural go-getter, and it's going to be the same for your ideal client.
And then there's a sense of like wanting to give up, I guess.
Yeah.
If after a couple tries.
Yeah. And then what happens is you get into the cycle, and this is the focus, where I'm a big failure, I'm just spinning my wheels, I should be further on than this, where's the luxury I desired, it's not happening, therefore judgment, 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 deep shame, guilt. So when you think about what you've been through and you've experienced, and that all those emotions, you know that that's what your ideal client is going through right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, and the fear of abandonment are all things she suffers from. And you know you can talk to her about all of those things.
Oh, yes.
You know how it feels. So when you create content and talk about the fear, those specific fears, and how you felt them and how you overcame them, your content is going to resonate hugely with this woman. So let's come back to you again. So I have a belief, and this has been, you know, I've been into sales coaching for what, 20 plus years now. So my experience is vast. And I believe from my experience that everyone is born with a unique gift. Yeah. And we express that gift when we're young children. And then at some point, that gift, that natural tendency, we tend to hide it and cover it up because we've developed beliefs, fears that it's too much, that it's offensive, or that it's not enough, that, you know, so we learn to build walls, and we learn to diminish our light. You talk about a lighthouse. We learn to diminish the light. We learn to hide the gift, push it down, swallow it. It's dangerous. It risks disapproval. It risks rejection. So when I asked you about that little girl, you told me, and this is you naturally, you told me that she is vivacious. And I said, what does vivacious mean? And she said, she's always laughing, always bubbly, always smiling, always singing, dancing. That vivacious human being is you in your gift, in your essence. So you imagine those qualities walking into a room. How attractive, magnetic, lovable, loving, sovereign, radiant is that human being?
Very.
Yeah. So somewhere that's you at your core. Somewhere along the lines, maybe the religious conditioning, the upbringing, you learned that that wasn't acceptable. You hid it. You went through high school feeling deeply unlovable. That part of you got diminished and lost. And as a result of that, you attracted situations throughout a good portion of your life that were a match to that. Difficult relationships, men that didn't give back, hurt you know, you attracted situations that were a match to your new belief that I'm not lovable. And so it perpetuated the belief. It made it your reality until you sat up one day and said, oh my God, I have to get out of my own way. And you started to dive deep and do your own work in the coaching. The other thing about that I feel is really significant here, and you said the word yourself, you said I was in the background, and your ideal client feels like that, pushed aside, unimportant, insignificant to the men that she's trying to get to commit. And you know how it feels, and you chose situations and even social media marketing agency, you're behind the person you're working for in the background, whereas you should be up the front, because your natural vivacious magnetic quality commands you to be out front, where you belong. So let me just pause there. Tell me what's coming up. Is this resonating?
Deeply. Deeply. Oh wow, it's amazing how it's interwoven, and everything
So
is
you
so
are the common denominator in this whole story, and it's an incredible story. And you came onto this planet with a purpose to share your gift of sensuality, magnetism, attractiveness, that vivacious you. And now you've reconnected to her again, having lost her for so long. You are the perfect, credible solution to help those women who want that quality, those qualities.
Oh wow. Tears.
These are good tears.
For sure.
So let me just give you one more thing before we wrap this up, because you need to process this. You need to sit with this. You need to allow more to come up, because you'll start going, oh my God, yes, this happened and this happened. It's all a match to your story, and it all adds to your credibility. The fact that you remember there were moments where I was so vivacious and life was colorful, and then there were moments where I lost it somehow and life was drab and scary and fearful. And you went into despondency, and that's against your whole, that's so incongruent with who you are.
Yeah, for sure.
So grab just a piece of paper quickly. And on that piece of paper, I want you to draw a shape, the U shape. And this is in the Shine Your Light challenge as well. I think it's day 4 when you go through it again. And at the top left prong of the U, I want you to write who I am. And in the bottom of the U, where I've been / my story. And at the top right, where I'm going and who I'm taking with me. Now, this quick exercise is about helping you just to position your expertise, what makes you an expert. So offline, when we're done, offline, you can just complete this shape basically by at the top left where you've got who am I, you write who you are today. You're the businesswoman, badass. You live an amazing life running a business on your terms. You have your beautiful son. You feel, and everything you feel right now about really owning who you are and owning your sensuality and owning your power and all of that you help people feel. Talk about how you are that now and how your life looks now. As you go into the dip of the U, there's a sentence that sounds like, but it wasn't always this way for me, or I haven't always been like this. And then you go into the dip of the U in the bottom of the well and talk about how you used to feel. I used to feel like this. I used to feel failure, deep shame. I used to have this sense that things were just never going to change, like year in, year out.
Mm-hmm.
And how that really felt. You know, how did that impact your health? Well, I had this awful throat condition and I was embarrassed by it, and I would have to change the way I took pictures of myself, and it was there for so long. And then I realized that I wasn't standing in my power, that there was a way out. And then as you climb out of the U, the sentence that crosses over the right hand side of the shape, the U shape, is, and this is why. And this is why, and as you go up to where I'm going and who I'm taking with me, you talk about your passionate mission. And this is why I'm on a mission to help women step into their sovereignty, to really become the natural, magnetic, lovable, attractive, all those words, radiant women that they were born to be. To not hide from their sexual sensuality, to not feel guilty for being fully expressing themselves.
Mm. Oh, man. That just sounded so amazing. Oh, man. I'll have to watch back to catch that.
Yes.
That last
Yes.
piece.
Yeah, fine. I'll download. Let me pause the recording now.